Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. So, P3M with Kailash Upadhyay. Today, we have my guest, Sayali Alai. Sayali has more than 11.5 years of experience. And throughout this 11.5 years of experience, she has worked with a single organization, Armstrong Dramatics. This is really wonderful, whole career so far in single organization. And she started as an engineering lead to team lead to assistant manager to manager to senior manager, and now she is assistant general manager with Armstrong Dramatics. So first of all, Saili, this is really wonderful. It really shows that how the organization uh, uh, the organization really take care of their employee, and it also shows about how you as an employee committed to your organization. So frankly, I have seen the world where every year they want to change an organization for some more money for some different reason, and they have reason like growth or for job change and something like that, but this is really impressive. But yes, first of all, want to tell you, Saili, that very big congratulations to you. Cracking the PGMP in the very first attempt is very rare.
Yes.
And honestly, Saili, I want to tell you that, I'm proud of you as an mentor to you in this certification journey. Just want to ask you, how does it feel to be a PGMP certified on a very first attempt?
So first of all, thank you, Kailash sir. So it was really means for me also it is something new which I have already achieved the milestone and still it is not believable. And yes, it was a difficult journey, but this journey has taught me a lot, and now this is more meaningful journey.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So again, the warmest welcome to this podcast, so Saili. And let's start this podcast. And my very first question, which I want to ask you, and this will surprise many people who going to listen to this podcast. Okay, see what I have seen in last my almost around 15 years of as a mentor to project program and portfolio management practitioner. I've always seen that people start with PMP first, but you directly chose to do PGMP. Okay, and that's a bold move. I would like to ask you why did you choose PGMP without going for a PMP certification journey?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot. So when I was thinking about the certification, means PMP, I was not sure because looking at my experience, I was not confident at this level. Should I go for PMP? So in one informal discussion, I was just discussing with one of my friends. He is from the same background actually. So he gave me hint that I have already the experience of PGMP application applicability criteria. So I can go directly for that. But still, I was not sure. And then my so one of senior colleague who is your alumni actually, and he is already P3MP professional.
Yeah.
So I connected with him that what should I do. So he guided me that you should discuss with Kailash sir.
Yeah.
Then I called you, and you gave me that confidence that looking at my experience, you can directly go to PGMP instead of PFD. And that confidence, after that confidence, I took a decision that yes, I will be joining for PGMP.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Shaili, see, most of the people are confused around the world. They think that they can't do PGMP without doing PMP, and they have certain hierarchy in their mind. They think that first they have to be project management professional, then they can do program management professional. But let me tell to this audience who is listening to this podcast that PMI, each certifications are very independent to each other. What PMI says, if you are already currently handling a program management role, and if program management going to be, your career for next few years, then you must practice program management and you must build your competency in the program management professional domain. Okay. And that is why PMI has not kept any constraint that PMP is a must for doing PGMP. So when you called me about this journey, when you wanted to start that, should I start with PMP or PGMP? I told you to start PGMP because you are managing program. Okay. And we had discussed your work that you are doing, your responsibility that you are doing. And we also discussed what is your career looks like to you in next couple of years. And this is that I recommended to you the PGMP because you are more of a program manager profile who, rather than doing the tactical thing, rather than involved into component delivery and building a solution, rather than you are building the that operational state, that outcome where benefits gets realized, where you working with those even operations team to ensure that they able to realize the benefit through this component delivery. So I'm really glad that Shaili, you heard me that and you chose the right certification rather than following a pattern that I'll do PMP first, then I will do PGMP, and then I will go to even maybe PFFP. So this is really, really wonderful. And I hope my audience will understand that choose a certification, which will help your current career and which will help you achieve your career vision in for next 5 year kind of thing. So if you are maybe directly managing portfolio, then you don't need to do PMP or PGMP, you can directly do PFMP certification as well. So that's really wonderful, Saili, that you chose the right certification and the right process where you discuss with your colleague who is already PMP, PGMP, PFMP certified, and is also an alumni of Addon Skills, who guided you, and then you had discussion with me, and because of this, you able to achieve this first attempt success. So that's really, really wonderful, Saili. So moving to my next questions, that this is another big one. Why mentorship? Why not just self study? Would you like to tell me that, Saili?
Actually, PGMP is not about only studying. It's just about how are you going to think differently, how your perspectives, how your thinking process, how are you looking at the things that process is going to change during this process. So when I was discussing with my friends and colleagues, I came to know that self-study is not that be helpful in this case. So definitely I should go for mentorship. And then immediately I again approached you and started for the mentorship. And this mentorship really helped me a lot because for working professionals, giving dedicated time for the study is really a challenge. So this mentorship gave me a proper structured approach. It gave me clarity, and most importantly, it helped me to change the mindset, which is right and which is expected by.
I think so. This is, really good. Highly people who do self-study path. Okay. See, I've generally seen that they take years in this certification journey, maybe 1 year, 2 year, even 3 year. And without structured mentorship, what happens, they live with lot of assumptions. They don't have somebody who can be a mirror to them, just like friendly ask every question to that mentor. So mentorship could be a mirror which can you can stand in front and where you can just ask every doubt that you have in mind, and uh, that can boost your confidence to go for the exam as soon as possible, because you are confident. So most of the people who don't do any mentorship, what happens is they struggle to build the confidence and the concept, that's delay their journey, and they may fail a multiple attempt, and then they realize that oh, this I would have started with a mentorship, because I see this kind of situation every single day. Even last week also, I had been approached by a person who said me that he's doing PGMP from maybe a year and he failed his first attempt. And many people think that because they cleared PMP on their first attempt, and they can do PGMP also in their first attempt. So they compare PMP certification with PGMP certification in terms of their complexity as well. And this is what this person who reached out to me. I said, why you not started? He said, no, I could clear PMP without any mentorship and with very easily and confidently. Then I told him that, PGMP, is the area where you do not have too much of material available. You don't have too much of question banks available like PMP. PMP, there are thousands of trainer available around the world, and they have done great work to create those content. So even somebody who wants to do self study, they can find this content, YouTube video, podcast, and articles, newsletters, and they can definitely pass PMP on their first attempt with lot of confidence, because so much of material available on the internet. But in case of PGMP, trust me, there are handful of trainer, and all of these are doing great work. And but the content that is not present, so the people not able to get that clarity, and that's the reason PGMP, they are not able to clear on their first attempt if they do self study. And that is why mentorship is very very important. And I'm glad that you took the right path, and that's why you cleared on your first attempt, and in such a short time, with such great score actually. So this is what I want to tell to this audience who is listening to this. There are a lot of value, and it's not just a certification. The mentor can help you to really apply the program management, the global standards, which is published by PMI, to the actual program management career. So that is, there are a lot of benefit of going with a mentorship rather than just thinking it as a certification journey and looking it just to pass the exam. So that's a very well decision, Saili, and I'm really, really, happy that that decision really added value to you. Moving on, one quick question, Shaili. Does PGMP required mandatory training hours like PMP?
No, actually, there are no specific training hours requirement for GMP similar to PMP. But yes, I will again suggest that guidance is really important. That is important instead of training hours requirement.
I think so. This is wonderful. I think this is a connected question, and this is another area where people think that like a PMP, there's a 35 hours of contact hours of mandatory requirement as an eligibility criteria for a PMP. But for PGMP, PMI has no such eligibility criteria. You do not need any formal training as a that's not a constraint laid down by PMI. So there is no contact hour requirement. And if you feel that you want to directly do a training without adding coach into your certification journey or mentor in a certification journey, then you are absolutely can take that path. But as we already discussed, how mentorship can shape the entire journey. There is, thank you for confirming this, Saili, that there is no training contact hours required for PGMP certification journey. Such constraints is not defined by PMI for the PGMP certification. Let's move on to very important discussion, the application part. Okay. And I've seen many people stuck there in this application journey. How was your experience in the PGMP certification application milestone, Saili?
See, application process, it's just nothing but about getting the clarity. So I would say the clarity is highest importance at this stage. Clarity about what? So it's about presenting my experience in alignment with PMI expectations. So I have
Actually,
a lot of experience, but I have to describe in a way that PMI is expecting from me. So this is a really interesting part, and it is also a toughest part, I can say. But again, I was continuously in touch with you. Because of that, my application was easily in a week's time. Uh, I was working on it for a week time, and I made it. And in the first attempt, my application got selected. So your guidance in this process made it smoother.
awesome, awesome. See, Shaili, I want to share this stats with the audience of ours. See, I have trained more than 5,000 people so far in this PGMP certification journey. And I can tell you, only around 850 people have cleared certification exam out of these 5,000 whom I have trained and whom I have mentored. And one reason that I could, when I analyze this numbers, that 5,000 people who have trusted me for their certification journey, and why could this only 850 people cleared this exam, okay, or became a PgMP certified? And the one of the reason that came to basis this data analysis which I did is the application for the PGMP. It's really overwhelming for many professional because it is not like PMP application where you just write some project, life cycle description and talk about the objectives and it will be done. Here there's a process called panel review where you'll have to write your strategy domain experience, your leadership, your governance experience, and the content should be really rich because the panel review team evaluates before the exam evaluates you as a competent program manager. The the panel review team, through your application, they evaluate, are you really handling program or not, because PMI do not want to offer or issue this certification to any such person who is not competent program manager. So somebody who has achieved this certification, I want to tell you that they have gone through a rigorous process. Okay. So this application where many people struggle and they give up their certification journey. So as I said, out of these 5,000 people, only 850 passed, and I saw that there are, roughly around 4,000 people who couldn't clear the PGMP. Is out of that number, 20% of the people I found that they never moved ahead from the application milestone. In spite of I telling them that, having multiple discussion with them, line meeting with them, and telling them very clear process that this is the structure, this is the template, and we have also discussed their actual program that they can fit into this particular template, but somehow they couldn't do it, and that's the reason they are not a PGMP certified today. The next thing, Saili, I want to ask you is, your journey was not random. It was structured. Would you like to tell me the structure that you followed in this certification journey?
I would say, so I started with eligibility check first. Then once I got the confirmation and confidence from you, then I started with the application preparation.
Yeah.
Then it's review. And once I got the approval from the PMI, then I moved to focus study. So in the focus study, all the material shared in the add-on skills,
Yeah.
standard of program management. So I followed that in the focus study. Once I got the good confidence that now I can move exams, I started with that. After mock exams, I started with analysis of all the answers, even if it is right or wrong, and then mindset building as program manager. So this was the structure I followed.
I think so. Really great structure, and I don't have to, add any more input from my side. I will just, conclude this question by saying that, create your roadmap. This roadmap is your structure to achieve the success. I think so, Saili, you have shared your roadmap with me, and we have uh, defined your PGMP roadmap where we worked on this milestone, finding dependency between the milestone, the chronology of this milestone, the timeline of this milestone, and that roadmap you really executed well throughout this certification journey. So that's what I want to tell you to this audience, that develop a PGMP certification roadmap that will give you a structure, okay, and follow that roadmap. And if any milestone get delayed, then take corrective action, you know to achieve those milestones. And aligned to this is my next question, Saili, that of course we have a roadmap in the certification journey, but achieving every milestone as per the defined timeline has lot of challenges. So I would like to ask you, what were some of the challenges that you faced in this certification journey?
So for me, Balancing work and study was the biggest challenge because given my demanding role, finding dedicated time for the study was a real challenge actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I started identifying opportunities where I could multitask and I could find those time slots, so I made use of those small pockets of time throughout the day. So what I started the listening recorded sessions from Addon skill during my gym workout, during travel to office or other locations, during household chores. Even there were a time when I was I have to wait at the hospital, so I also use that time slots. I also use short breaks effectively, like 10 minutes during lunch break. I could find so in that time I was going through flashcards, and it really helped me a lot uh, revision or remind the whatever I have studied. So this helped me. I also joined a library, so I find a small time which is without distraction. So after office hours, I used to go to library also for 1 hour or 1.5 hour. And when I started with mock exams, it was difficult for me to in the evening after office hours, after complete working day, and then to sit for 4 hours and give a mock exam. It was really exhaustive, and I could not focus for 4 hours. So I think a lot what I can do, and then I changed my routine. I slept early around 10:15, and I used to wake up at 4 a.m. and then I used to give a mock up. So 4 to 8 a.m. usually I finish my mock, and then I rush to my office. So around 14 to 15 mocks I have given. So this was the schedule I followed, and it helped me a lot. So from this journey, my biggest learning, I would say, is consistency is really matter.
Awesome.
One 10 minutes a day, but you have to follow the rhythm. That's my biggest learning and biggest challenge. But yeah, I could find a way, and finally I did it.
I think so. Wonderful, Shaili. I think so. I hope this audience will listen to this podcast till this point of time, because nowadays, even I see people don't have attention. They listen to some part of the podcast at the beginning and they drop at the end. But I hope this is, they have to must listen about, you know, what a wonderful approach you took, and of course, today's time where organization demands maximum out of you, where we are competing for even survival sometime, because the IT, the technology, they are creating disruption into even job market kind of things and all. And you rightly said, Saili, how these small things can lead to big impact. During lunch hour, saying that I will listen to the or maybe I'll watch the flashcard rather than just spending time and doing some journal chit chat with my colleague about any other topic. But you decided, rather than those, to take the flashcard and be consistent in your journey. And the next thing, I knew that, Shaili, we spoke, I think so, few week back, when you told me that you are sitting in the library. I called you and you said, sorry, I couldn't take your call because my phone was in silent mode, because I'm in a library and I can't keep my phone on that sound mode and all. I knew that, but I think this is another great thing, Siley. Sometime if you didn't have that right environment at your own home or something, sometime disconnecting yourself to the unnecessary environment that can create noise in this certification journey, taking a library where silence is maintained and going into that silence zone where applying yourself as a program manager, and then building those global program management concept that will be tested in the exam, and a lot of other thing I don't want to repeat, but I want people to listen. And I think so you will give a lot of motivation to this audience who going to uh, take this exam or this certification journey. So thank you. And this is really, really inspiring, even for me, Saili, and I hope for the lot of audience as well. Saili, moving on to another very important questions. Of course, we spoke about challenges, and before that, the roadmap you defined. And now, let's say there's a week before exam. What was your approach of that last week of PGMP certification exam actually?
Actually, the 1 week before the exam, what I followed is first is no new learning. Whatever I have learned, I have to revise. So second point is revision, revision, and the revision. Third thing which I did is confidence building, because confidence plays a vital role in this. And fourth was the important for me is staying calm. The don't take any pressure or tension for the exam. Using these 4 points, we can say I could easily focus on the means during the last week of the exam, and it's also helped me on the day of the exam.
Great point, Shaili. See, as I said that I talk to so many people around the world who are in this certification journey. But I've always seen, Shaili, that even a day before exam, they have not completed their study. And they are, and I talk to so many people, they say that I have kept my mock exam only for last 2 days and I will do only last 2 days so that I can remember it. So then I tell them, what do you mean by remember it? Are you trying to mug up some scenario or are you trying to build the concept? And so this is the wrong path they take. And I think so this is wonderful. This audience must listen to you that no new learning during the last week of your certification exam. Rather than just revisiting those concepts that you have developed through your experiences and throughout this certification journey. This is the best point I have heard. I want to definitely tell to all this audience that follow this your approach to PGMP certification journey. Last week is not for new learning. Last week is for, you rightly said, making your mindset that I am ready for this exam and I have covered the entire scope that will be tested in the exam based on the PGMP examination content outline. And I will only do is I will revisit those concepts that I have already built. I will go into depth of those things and I will not try anything new which will make me lose my confidence. Rather, I will take those approach which will further enhance my confidence. I think so. This is a great point, and really thank you for sharing this. Now, Shaili, I would like to ask another very quick question: is can people take this exam from their home, or is this exam can be done as a remote proctored exams?
This exam can be scheduled from the location which are given by PMI. So this exam can be conducted in the only metro cities only, and so there are allocated exam centers, we can say, and we have to select any one of them which is near to you. We can select, and then we can visit that exam center.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shaili, for sharing this information. Because there's so many people who reach out to add-on skills, reach out to me. They ask that, can I give, because PMI other exam like RMP, like PBA, or maybe like PMP. There all of this exam other than PGMP and PFMP, they can be remotely proctored. That means you can give this exam from your home or from maybe your office if you are comfortable, but remotely exam can be proctored. But PGMP and PFMP are the most valuable PMI certification and most strategic certification for senior leadership role. And PMI have taken this decision until now that these exams only have to be conducted through Pearson. Pearson is the PMI exam partner through Pearson Exam Center only. And you rightly said, these centers are in metro cities. And for I really know, Saili, that you are into a small city called Nasik, and you have to come down to Pune to give this particular exam. And there are So many people, I spoke to one of my PFMP alumni who just cleared the exam last week. He also have to travel, I think, to somewhere. He was in Canada. He has to travel almost 400 miles to take this exam, because PGMP and PFMP exam are not remotely proctored. You have to visit Pearson View PMI exam center, and there you'll have to, under a very in-person proctored environment, you'll have to take this exam. So this is another very, very important information that we want to share with you. Related question, Shaili, did you find any challenges in this Pearson exam center during your exam time, Shaili?
No, there was no challenge actually. It was a very smooth experience, and I reached early. So my exam was scheduled at 8 a.m. and I was there by 7:10. So almost 50 minutes before I was reached there. So I just stayed relaxed and calm and focused at the exam center also. And the experience, yes, it was very smooth. No challenge, no hurdle.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so Pearsons are really professional exam centers. Of course, there are, we say, issues occur. If something has to go wrong, will go wrong. But, they have identified all the risk, that can impact anybody's certification journey, and ultimately the PMI reputation as well. So Pearson have done wonderful job, because I have taken so many exam in Pearson View Exam Center, and I really know that they know every single risk, and they have response to every single risk that can impact anybody's certification journey. So thank you for sharing that. But of course, you have to, Shaili, I know that you traveled a day before to, because you're traveling from Nasik to Pune. When you are have exam center in a different city, I always recommend that you reach that city a day before, so that you don't find travel related challenges, or you don't have to manage those travel related problem, and reaching late, because this Pearson is very strict. If you reach half an hour late to the exam center, they will not allow to take the exam, and your attempt is completely waste. And I have seen this happening. There are many people who, even some of my alumni, they have told me that Pearson didn't allow them to take the exam, because they are more than 20 minutes late to the exam center. And this is, there are very well defined rules, and you must understand that you reach 30 minutes before, rather than reaching 20 to 30 minutes late to the exam center. PMI is not going to refund you. You can't ask PMI that you couldn't take the exam. PMI will not take any light reason for you being late. Of course, if there's some serious reason, PMI may consider that. But then I want to really tell you, all the audience, that please reach your exam center half an hour before. And if you're traveling from a different city, reach this exam city a day before, so that you can, acclimatize yourself into that city, weather condition, that city, traffic condition, and so on. So that's a very good point, Shaili, that thank you for sharing with us. Shaili, I have a very important question to ask you, and I think it's a very personal question also to ask you. How was your family and friends support in this certification journey?
So thanks for asking this question, sir, because I would really share my experience on this topic actually. So I would suggest everyone that make your friends and family partner in your mission, because they will help you, they will motivate you, they will suggest you few good ways which will definitely help you. So in my case, I will say my three friends, my three colleagues helped me in various ways. So one senior colleague, which uh, whom I already mentioned, that he guided me to add on skills and helped me to get the structured mentorship. Second friend suggested me that instead of PMP, why are you not going to PMP? And then again, I started thinking in that direction, and then I got input on that. Third, again, in the lunch break, I was sharing to my friend that I am not getting enough time for my preparation. And she suggested me that why are you not joining library? And on the same day, I immediately traveled to library. I took a admission and I joined library. When I
Yeah, yeah,
went to the office of the library, the person, librarian was asking me for few documents because I immediately on the same day I went to the. So he was asking few documents and I was not having handy those documents. So I requested him that can I sit for today? I will submit all the documents tomorrow. Is that okay for you? And he was also amazed that you are very serious towards your exam preparation. So definitely I will allow you. And on the first day
yeah,
itself, I went to there and I started my that study. So the library part helped me a lot. So I'm really thankful to that my friend actually. And I many times I told her that this suggestion I should have received a few days back. So I could prepare better. But the whatever time
yeah.
I spent in the library, it was really a game changer because all the reading part, reading and getting the clarity on the concepts. So that part I covered in the library only. So how your friends are helping you? So these are the ways your friends can help you. About family, yes. My family was in tension because continuously I'm working on the office work and then studying. So it is really hectic and exhaustive, and uh, they can experience our struggle also. So they were in tension and they asked me, why are you giving this exam? You already have a very busy schedule and then now you are studying. So then I sit with them, I explain them. So this is the exam. What is the importance of this exam? And how much knowledge I am going to receive after this exam or this preparation, that I completely explain to them. And then they realize this is again going to help me in the my schedule only, my work only. So I requested them that for few days my routine will be in this way only. So after that conversation, they started me helping a lot. They
Yeah.
used to give me a separate time, no disturbance, everything is ready for me. And that motivation, that small effort from your family also plays a big role. So I would suggest to all that make your friends and family partner in your mission, and it will make your journey easier.
I think so. Wonderful, Saili. And I definitely agree with you that your friends, your family, they are uh, going to play a big role in your certification journey. Sometimes friends, because before the certification journey, sometime we need to tell them also that probably I'll not able to meet you that frequently. I used to meet you before this journey I started. And sometime, I think so you got a wonderful friend who guided you rather than asking more time from you. They told you that go separate yourself from the rest of the world, and they gave you this option of going into the library, and you got a wonderful librarian who, without even any formal enrollment, she allowed you to sit in the library. And she thinks so those small support from these are the stakeholder that definitely added so much of value in this certification journey. And I think your family support, I don't want to say anything, because without their support, Shaili, you wouldn't have been even this person who you are. Forget about this PgMP certification, and be now go and thank your family and your friend, maybe give a party to them. And they have played a role much bigger than anybody else. Maybe your mentor, maybe sometime you yourself, and like that way. So this is a wonderful sharing from you, Saili. Thank you. Thank you very much. Shaili, now, of course, we are moving toward the end of this particular podcast. Few question I just that comes to my mind, where most of the people also ask me, Shaili, that you know the AI role in this exam preparation. Did you use any AI tools or AI solution while preparing for this certification journey?
Honestly, I didn't use AI for this preparation actually. I
Okay.
completely trusted on all the material shared by Addon skills and you, and then
Okay.
standard of program management. So this material I strictly followed, revised, and cleared my concept.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So there have been people, Shaili, what I've seen, they're doing too much fishing around over the internet, finding, free material. And I have also seen a lot of free material which is not a genuine material. And they, rather than helping you, they are actually creating problems for you. So what I want to tell you that don't trust every such material which is available on the internet and even AI. I've seen, Shaili, that there's so many people who are using AI, and they're creating problems for themselves because AI is not always giving you the right answer. The problem is, I will not say don't use AI, but I will say don't stop using your own mind. You need to counter that answer. You can't just rely what AI is telling you that, okay, this is, because when you counter AI, then the AI will immediately say, oh, I'm sorry, you are right and I'm wrong. But this is many people doesn't want to do. They just want to believe that AI has so much of data. Of course, AI has so much of data, but will AI able to give you the right data? Are you asking the right question? That is what is the biggest problem that people is finding. They are not giving the right prompts. They are, and also not validating the answers correctly, not doing counter discussion with the AI. So these are the problems I've seen, Shaili, and I'm glad that you followed and you trusted the add-on skills learning management system where the flashcard, the knowledge capsule, the articles, the podcasts, the videos, the mock exam, domain exam. I think so. This is sometimes you need to even trust your mentor who is telling you that
Yes.
this is sufficient. Don't try to find, I want to do 10,000 questions for a PgMP before giving exam. Sometimes just 1,000 legit questions, which is really testing the sound knowledge of program management, is more important than 1,000 questions which are not worded correctly, which are not testing the real program management, even concept. So don't go into quantity, rather choose the quality that will help you to achieve the success on the first attempt. So thank you, Shaili, for sharing that about. I hope some of the people will really take that using AI is not mandatory, and if they want to use AI, then don't just blindly rely on them. Have lot of use your mind, question AI on everything, and once you are convinced, then reshape your understanding or even discuss with your mentor, just to validate the assumptions which you have developed based on the AI response. Okay. So, Shaili, I think so. This is going to be my last question for this podcast. And this question is, now you are a PGMP certified professionals, and I want to ask you, how are you going to take this learning from this journey back to the organization and apply this learning so that it will give you the real value? Because the real value is not a certification. The real value is how you going to shape every single program within Armstrong Dematics.
So first, earlier I was more focused toward the successful execution. Whatever strategy we have designed and defined, my focus was completely on the successful execution of that strategy. But now my approach has completely changed, and I'm looking at things more stakeholder engagement, then proper governance, which is going to give me the desired outcomes, and then clear benefits tracking. So majorly, to summarize that, I am going to apply my knowledge in three major areas, I would say. That first is strengthening the governance. Second, I would say benefits tracking. So whatever we have planned, we are getting out of it. That I will track. And I would say stakeholder alignment across the program. So these three areas I'm going to immediately work on.
Wonderful, Shaili. I think so. Just want to tell you all the best. And, I have full confidence that you're going to shape every program toward the successful outcome and benefit realization because you are a very organized person. I'll say your management practices are really very sound, not theoretical. And I want to assure you, Saili, that if you think I could add any value in this journey, which is beyond the certification, if I can help in your program management career, then as I always told you, our engagement is not temporary. Our engagement is permanent as an ongoing. So I would like to assure you, whenever you find that wish I could have somebody help me, or can I reach out to somebody who can help me in this, validating, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Or suggest me few alternative way of doing thing in the program management journey, then please know that I am always there for that discussion with you. I'm not saying I'll able to give you the best of the solution, but I will definitely share my experiences, and at least we can eliminate some of the uh, those things that should not be practiced kind of things. Together, those brainstorming, we can build a great you know value. Thank you, Shaili. First of all, this is a great discussion with you on this podcast. So I have really enjoyed this discussion with you, and that's all. Wish you the best in your program management career going forward.
Yeah. So I would also like to say thanks to Addon Skills, the complete team, and a special thanks to you also. So for making my journey smoother and structured contribution really helped me. So thank you once again, sir, and thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you very much.